Part 1. The Forbidden Currency of Power. They don't teach you the truth. Not in school. Not in the sermons dressed as motivational speeches. And certainly not in the soft-spoken lies society whispers just loud enough to keep you obedient. But you can feel it, can't you? That quiet tremor beneath the surface. That uncomfortable sense that the real game isn't played in daylight, but in the shadows where only the powerful walk unchallenged. Here's the forbidden truth they bury under moral slogans and fake virtue. In this world, money isn't a tool. It's the throne. It's the mask. It's the weapon. It is the only language every kingdom, every empire, every trembling soul understands. Machiavelli wrote that men forget more easily the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance. 500 years have passed, and nothing has changed. Loss of wealth still carves deeper wounds than grief. Because wealth isn't about objects. It is about position. And position decides everything. But here is the paradox. People pretend money doesn't matter because they do not have it. They push the narrative that freedom is spiritual and happiness is internal. While they silently drown under bills, fear, dependence and limitations they will never admit to. They call their chains contentment, polishing them daily like trophies. You've seen it. You've lived among it. The ones who tell you, money isn't everything, always seem to be the ones asking for permission. Waiting for approvals, praying their monthly salary won't betray them. They want you to be like them. Quiet, hopeful, harmless. But the deeper truth lies elsewhere. The world rearranges itself around those who can afford to say no. That's why the rich never raise their voices. Their silence does the work for them. Silence shaped by money is not absence. It's presence. A warning without words. Look around. The door that stays closed when you're broke opens instantly when your account balance speaks for you. Respect suddenly becomes effortless. People listen more carefully. They lower their tone. They choose their words. Not because you change, but because your weight changed. You want to understand power? Then study the psychology of abundance. Human beings instinctively bow to whoever owns more. The child with the extravagant toy becomes the unspoken leader. The man with the car that roars attracts eyes without trying. The woman who moves like she owns the room doesn't need to speak. People part for her like water. This is not vanity. This is primitive hierarchy wrapped in modern clothing. And when you notice this, everything changes. Because the truth hits you. Those who win don't win by accident. They weaponize wealth. They hide it, reveal it, deploy it like generals deploying troops on a battlefield. The Medici didn't dominate Europe with swords. They dominated with gold. Loans to kings. Debts from popes. Influence bought, not earned. History remembers the warriors, but it obeyed the bankers. And today? Nothing is different. Nations still kneel before debt. Judges bend subtly toward the wealthy. Laws become flexible when money enters the room. Justice moves slower or faster not by righteousness, but by liquidity. You think morality runs the world. But look closely. What moves the gears is capital, not conscience. Now listen carefully. There are 3 truths about money the powerless never grasp. First, money kills fear. Not metaphorically. Literally. The emergencies that break most people become minor inconveniences when you can simply pay your way out of suffering. A broken car becomes a signature, not a crisis. A medical bill becomes paperwork, not a threat. Losing a job becomes an anecdote, not a collapse. Second, money buys silence. Silence from enemies who suddenly forget how loudly they used to speak. Silence from those who once underestimated you. Silence from rooms where your name was dismissed, but is now spoken carefully, with softened vowels and adjusted posture. Third, money multiplies you. $1 can return as 10. One connection can become a doorway to 50 more. One investment can become 3 generations of immunity. The poor think money sits in a vault. The powerful know money is a soldier. You send it to war so it returns with prisoners. But here's the darker layer they never want you to uncover. Once you hold enough money, You stop participating in the game and start controlling it. You move from reacting to designing. From surviving to dictating. You stop asking for permission, because nothing stands above you except your own desire. That is why the world fears self-made wealth. A man who becomes wealthy by force of will is untamable. He does not need validation. He does not seek approval. He does not fear abandonment. Because he knows the one truth society hides beneath moral camouflage. Power grows faster in secrecy than in attention. You felt it. People treat the wealthy differently before they even speak. Not because of the person. Because of the perceived danger. Money creates distance. Distance creates mystery. Mystery creates power. And sovereignty is built on distance. If you think this is too dark, good. Discomfort is the first sign that you've been living as prey while thinking you were a free man. Ask yourself, who controls your time? Your choices? Your emotional weather? Your sense of security? If the answer is anything other than myself, then wealth is not optional for you. It is oxygen. And here's the moment where everything becomes painfully clear. While you hesitate, someone else is buying the influence you will one day have to obey. While you downplay your ambition, someone else is building a fortress your children will stand outside of. While you settle for enough, someone else is accumulating inevitable. Machiavelli warned that a prince who lives without his own arms lives without glory. He was not speaking of swords. He was speaking of resources. Your wealth is your army. Without it, you are vulnerable, forgettable, replaceable. With it, you become something else. Not loud, not flamboyant, but inevitable. The man whose presence shifts a room. The man whose silence carries threat. The man who walks with the confidence of someone who does not depend on anyone. This is the truth most people will never hear because their minds cannot hold it. You want freedom? Then stop pursuing comfort. Comfort is the lullaby sung to men who will never rise. Comfort is the blanket thrown over ambition until it suffocates. Comfort is the lie whispered into the ears of those the powerful wish to keep small. You weren't built for comfort. You were built for sovereignty. And sovereignty is purchased, not granted. So decide. Will you keep believing the illusions that keep the masses asleep? Or will you embrace the forbidden truth that the world bows not to goodness, nor talent, nor effort, but to dominance fueled by wealth? Because if this unsettles you, it means you were never prepared for power. Part 2. The architecture of psychological dominion. They say money changes you. That it corrupts. That it poisons the soul. But that's only what the powerless whisper to comfort themselves. The truth is simpler, colder, and infinitely more dangerous. Money doesn't change who you are. It unmasks you. The man you become with wealth is the man you always were. Stripped of excuses, stripped of fear, stripped of the performance you were forced to put on for survival. Poverty is the costume. Wealth is the revelation. Most people never reach that revelation. They stay trapped behind the mask society, glued to their skin, smiling while they drown, pretending contentment to hide the trembling in their voices. They survive on hope, rationed like spoiled food, and call it virtue. But here is the deeper paradox. The world demands you be humble, until you have enough money to ignore the demand entirely. When you're poor, humility is obedience. When you're rich, humility is strategy. This is why the powerful never argue loudly. Arguing is for those without leverage. Force is for those without influence. Noise is for those without weight. Money removes the need for volume. Presence becomes enough. Silence becomes a blade. And the moment you understand this, you begin to see the architecture of human behavior with unsettling clarity. Notice how people treat the poor with pity and the rich with reverence. Even when the poor are kind and the rich are cruel. Notice how the world forgives the sins of the wealthy but magnifies the mistakes of the struggling. Notice how one signature from a rich man can erase problems that would destroy an ordinary life. People like to believe fairness is invisible but active, like a benevolent ghost. But money is the only ghost that truly haunts the world. It moves outcomes without being seen. It shifts destiny quietly. without applause, without moral approval. Let me give you the truth as Machiavelli would. People follow strength. They only pretend to follow morality. And in the modern world, strength has a name: liquidity. Now, let's walk deeper into the shadows. There are three forms of power: wealth, influence, myth. The first buys the second manufactures the third, and the third controls the minds of millions without a single coin spent. Consider how the Medici moved. Their power wasn't just gold. It was the myth of the Medici. The image of a family whose shadow could stretch across kingdoms. Even rival rulers bowed not to their soldiers, but to their invisible reach. Their silence was a political force. Their reputation was a weapon that fought wars on their behalf. That's the level of power people forget. The kind that no longer needs action. Only existence. But here's the part that unsettles most people. You don't need to be a Medici to wield the same structure of power. You only need to understand the psychology behind it. Step into the mind of someone with massive wealth and you'll notice something strange. They no longer think in hours or days. They think in decades. Sometimes centuries. They plant seeds of influence that will grow long after they're gone. They build invisible infrastructures of favor, debt, alliance, and dependency. Money becomes more than currency. It becomes architecture. The poor look for income. The rich build systems. The powerful build legacies. And those who aim for dominion manipulate perception itself. This is the real reason the wealthy seem untouchable. It's not the possessions. It's not the lifestyle. It's the distance. Distance from danger. Distance from desperation. Distance from the emotional storms that swallow ordinary lives whole. Distance is a kind of throne. And money is the elevation. Let's peel back the psychology further. Why do people instinctively respect the wealthy? Because wealth signals safety. People gravitate to whatever feels safest. It's primal. It's ancient. Human beings followed the strongest hunter, the largest tribe, the tallest walls. Today, they follow the ones with the deepest accounts. Respect is not philosophical. It's evolutionary. This is why even the noble poor are ignored and the corrupt rich are admired. Because in the human mind, wealth equals survival. And survival overrides morality every time. But here is the detail most people miss. The truly powerful do not flaunt wealth. They weaponize its invisibility. A man who appears modest but holds enormous wealth is feared in a way the flamboyant can never achieve. Because the unknown is more unsettling than the known. A concealed blade is deadlier than a visible sword. And so the strongest form of wealth is hidden wealth. Unannounced. Unexplained. Unpredictable. This is what shakes rooms. This is what neutralizes competitors. This is what creates that subtle silence when you walk in. That unspoken question in everyone's mind. How much does he really have? Fear grows in the gaps between perception and truth. Now, listen closely. Once you understand how wealth shapes perception, you begin to grasp why power is not given, but taken. Not spoken, but implied. Not shown, but felt. This is why kings built treasuries larger than their armies. This is why empires rose not on battlefields, but in counting houses. This is why nations still fear recessions more than wars. Because money, not morality, not justice, not democracy, is the true pulse of civilization. But here's the ultimate twist. The highest form of power isn't having money. It's having so much that you no longer think about money. You think about direction, narrative, control. Money becomes your baseline, not your ambition. That is the point where wealth transforms into sovereignty. Where your existence becomes your authority. Where you stop chasing opportunities and start creating them. Where your silence becomes a strategy, not a void. People think wealth is about yachts and mansions. That's poverty thinking wearing expensive fabric. Wealth is the ability to walk away. To reject disrespect. To decline dependency. To shape your life without the permission of another soul. And if you ever reach that level, you'll understand something chilling. People don't love the wealthy. They orbit them. Not out of admiration, but out of instinct. You become the fire. They become the moths. You never asked for worship, yet it comes. You never asked for loyalty, yet it forms. You never asked for silence, yet it falls everywhere you go. This is the essence of Machiavellian truth. Power is taken quietly, and held through perception, and solidified through wealth. If this makes you uncomfortable, good. Power was never meant to comfort you. It was meant to reshape you. And if you feel the ground shifting beneath your feet while reading this, it's because the part of you that was taught to stay small is dying. Let it. Because you cannot rise while clinging to the version of yourself that the world prefers. Harmless. Obedient. Easily dismissed. The world does not reward good intentions. It rewards presence shaped by power. And if that truth unsettles you, remember, you were warned long before you were ready. Part 3. The Sovereign Who Walks Alone. There comes a point in every life when the illusions finally crack. Not loudly, not violently, but with a quiet, almost tender sound, like a mirror fracturing under its own reflection. That's when the truth slips in. The world was never fair. It was never meant to be. It was architected by people who understood power long before you opened your eyes to it. The rich didn't write the rules. They wrote the language the rules are written in. And while the masses chant slogans about justice, equality, and moral victory, power is negotiated behind closed doors in whispers you will never hear unless you earn your way into those rooms. You've sensed this growing up. That unsettling feeling that some people glide through life while others crawl. That certain doors swing open automatically for a chosen few while you stand outside rehearsing your introduction. It's not destiny. It's design. But here is the darker revelation. You don't need to be chosen. You only need to understand the architecture of sovereignty. And sovereignty begins with detachment. The poor cling to everything. Reputation. Approval. Comfort. Validation. They treat these things like lifelines because they have nothing else anchoring them. The powerful detach from everything. Because when you detach, you become unpredictable. And the unpredictable become feared. Machiavelli warned, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. He wasn't advocating cruelty. He was describing gravity. The kind that bends human behavior without raising its voice. Fear is not screaming. Fear is awareness. Fear is calculation. Fear is instinctive respect. And nothing manufactures instinctive respect faster than a man who is willing to walk away without hesitation. Because he can. This is why wealth is the final form of detachment. It frees you from desperation, which frees you from obedience. When you no longer need anything from anyone, no one can manipulate you. No one can threaten you. No one can dangle opportunities in front of you like treats in front of an obedient dog. You become sovereign. Untouchable. A storm contained in human form. But sovereignty demands a sacrifice. Not of morals. Not of kindness. But of naivety. You must let die the version of you who waited for permission. The version who was afraid to offend. The version who feared stepping out of line. The version who believed the world rewards honesty before advantage, effort before leverage, virtue before strategy. That version of you must not survive. It was never built for the real world. Let me show you something most people never see until it's too late. There are two timelines in every person's life. The visible one, the story you tell others. And the invisible one, the story power tells you. The visible timeline is filled with hope. I'm trying. One day things will work out. I just need a bit more luck. The invisible timeline is filled with consequence. Every day you delay, someone else advances. Every opportunity you hesitate on becomes someone else's foundation. Every time you choose comfort, someone else chooses conquest. The world doesn't pause because you need time. It marches. Relentlessly. Obliviously. Power has no sympathy for hesitation. And that is why most men die as spectators. They watch the world being shaped by those who decided, long ago, that their lives would not be left to chance. This is where your final shift must happen. You must stop thinking of wealth as a goal. Wealth is not the summit. Wealth is the gate. What lies beyond that gate is the real game. Influence, immunity, legacy, control of narrative, shaping perception, deciding the emotional weather of every room you enter. This is what people fear to admit. Once you acquire enough wealth, you stop participating in society and begin bending it. Your preferences become policies. Your beliefs become trends. Your decisions become the environment other people must adapt to. This is the level where silence becomes your enforcer. Distance becomes your armor. And reputation becomes a ghost that walks ahead of you, clearing the path. Most people think power is loud. It isn't. Power is a man who doesn't raise his voice because he knows he doesn't need to. Power is the calm in his eyes while the room rearranges itself around him. Power is the weight of his presence before he speaks. Power is the subtle fear others feel when they realize they cannot control him. And the only way to reach this state is to build a life that requires nothing from anyone. Let me take you even deeper. You've probably noticed that people behave differently around you depending on their perception of your resources. A poor man asking a question is confused. A rich man asking the same question is strategic. A poor man declining an offer is arrogant. A rich man declining it is selective. Nothing changed except the perceived value of your time. You see it now, don't you? Power is not who you are. It's how the world adjusts itself to you. Once this truth sinks in, you will feel two emotions: regret for not knowing it sooner, and hunger to never be on the weak side of it again. Good. Both are necessary. Because here is the final turning point most people never reach. When you acquire enough power, the world stops being a battlefield and becomes a stage. People stop being opponents and become characters. Opportunities stop being hunted and become inevitable. You stop living inside the rules. You begin writing them. That is the moment where legacy begins. Not in applause, not in recognition, but in the quiet shift where your decisions echo beyond your lifetime. Most men chase comfort. A few chase wealth. But only the sovereign chase immortality. The kind carved into the world through influence, stories, structures, and consequences that outlive flesh. And now we arrive at the most uncomfortable truth of all. If you fail to rise, if you settle, if you choose safety over evolution, the world will not punish you with cruelty. It will punish you with invisibility. You won't be hated. You'll be forgotten. And that is a fate far colder than death. So hear this one last time, not as a threat, but as a prophecy. If this monologue unsettles you, it means you were standing at the edge of power without realizing it. If it angers you, it means part of you still clings to the illusions meant to keep you obedient. If it awakens something in you, then good. Because from this point forward, you can no longer claim ignorance. You know exactly what the world demands of the powerful. You know exactly what weakness costs. You know exactly how easily you can be crushed by those who have already made the decision you've been postponing. So decide. Now. Quietly. Without announcement. Without seeking approval. Because power does not wait. And hesitation is the first act of defeat. The next chapter of your life will be written by one of two versions of you. The one who rises, or the one who collapses under the weight of his own excuses. Choose the sovereign, because the world bows not to desire, not to effort, not to virtue but to dominance. And dominance begins the moment you stop waiting and start becoming inevitable.